Hello, this is Dreamcast episode 5, Lost. So, I had a dream I think it was like over a month ago, and I have a voice message that I sent somebody talking about it, that I sent it to them like way before I made this channel, before I even had the idea for this channel. I think it was those voice messages that I sent to them about my dreams that kind of spurred the idea for me making a Dreamcast. And I just wanted to talk about one of them that I still remember vividly. And like after listening to the voice message again, I can remember all of the the imagery and everything that happened in the dream in like really good detail. So the dream starts out with a, a location that I'm really familiar with, actually. Back at my old house, when I used to live with my dad, there was a trail that was all the way off to the side of my front yard, and it was wide enough that a car could realistically fit down there. And it's not super relevant, but like we would ride four-wheelers, we would ride dirt bikes, and I think there was also a few times where like there was a hump that used to be like really mild hump that I like remodeled because I was back then I was really obsessed with like the idea of catching air. So I really wanted to catch some air on the 50cc four-wheeler that I was riding. And eventually I moved up to like dirt bikes, and my dad had a TRX 250. It was too much for me at that age. But anyways, it was that trail, and there's a lot of pine needles on the ground, and they're all brown from like falling way long ago. And there's a historical sword fighting or historical combat creator that I really enjoy watching the videos of. I don't remember, or I personally don't know how to pronounce their name, but they make historical combat videos, and it'll be like realistic stuff. And I was like dressed in like historical knight armor, and it was part of it was leather. It was like black leather, and then I had the helmet and like a chest plate. It wasn't like the full all around, but it was like chest plating. And I was hiding behind a tree on that trail with all the pine needles and junk, and there were these people with like long bows and these big old arrows, like big arrows. I would say like this big. The arrows were like, they were very much bigger than usual arrows, and they're like really big longbows. I think they could probably be comparable to like the spear bows that used to be used with like the blades on the end, but they were just big long bows, just incredibly huge, and they were shooting at me, and I was like blocking them with my metal shield. And it was like one of the classic big classic shaped shields, and I was like hiding behind a tree. It's very similar to a video that the creator made, but while this is happening, I hear a voice off in the distance calling out for help, and usually there's just a bunch of woods off to my left, because I was kind of facing towards the house and the entrance of the trail, and the archers were off to this side, and it was like there's usually not an incline, but there was an incline up into the woods, and they were shooting at me from over there, and I heard somebody calling out this way, which again is usually just straight woods and then my neighbor's house over there. But this time it was a location, another location that I'm pretty familiar with. I used to go to this daycare place, or it was a gym, but people made it into, or a basketball gym, I should say. People made it into a daycare place, and outside of the gym, they had like this big old outdoor area with like soccer fields and junk, and there was this creek that goes along. Um, there's this creek that goes alongside a pond. Well, the pond was completely gone and kind of replaced with grass, and along the creek, at the very corner near where the road usually is, instead of the road, it was another creek going this way. At at that location, there was somebody screaming out for help, and there was no one around me that could help. So obviously, I had to go help that person, but the archers kind of just disappeared at that point, and I went kind of, like running to go help that person, and I get to this area, and I'm like running through the grass along the creek, and I find the place that I knew for some reason knew that this person was, and just weren't there. They completely disappeared. So I walked off, and they like I can't remember exactly, but either I just don't remember them being there, or they were in like this box that I had to open up for them to get out. But I got done either helping them or finding out that they just weren't there, and I walked away, and for some reason I like something happened in the dream, or maybe the dream kind of just jumped to the part where I was going back to that place, but I knew that there was something that I needed to get at the place that the person was calling out for help. So I went back towards the place, and since it's a dream, you can't just walk somewhere. I was on my BMX bike, and I was like riding towards this place, and instead of it just being grass, there was like a dirt jump that kind of popped up, where it went down into a pit, and then it was like almost vertical, and then the other dirt jump. If you know dirt jumps, they're almost always like really, really steep, both the landings and the takeoffs. So they're very intimidating jumps in general, and something that I've always kind of struggled with is like being intimidated by like full-sized mountain biking jumps. Those are some things that I've never been able to do. I've never been able to send a like real big jump, because what I grew up on was riding as hard as I could as just a wee little lad towards a ramp, and then is hut to flat, if you know what that means. So it's really intimidating for me, and I'm trying to gather speed, but I'm riding through grass to get to the dirt run-up, and I go up through the air, and my front wheel just boom, and for whatever reason, maybe just because I'm the goat, I don't get hurt by this, and I kind of just stick the landing on my feet, and my bike bounces off, and now it's snowy. Now it's snowing in this dream, and I went over to the corner where the two creeks were, or the two parts of the creek were excuse me, the two parts of the creek met, and I looked around. Nothing really there. I don't know why I was going over there, but no worries, because now we're at the fun part of the dream. So we just kind of jump to this little game show type thing, and all around me I can see the crowd and the filming equipment just in my face, and there's this big wheel up here where all of the options are awful, and the game show guy, it's I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, it's just the Wheel of Fortune guy, and he comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, come spin this wheel, aren't you so excited? Wouldn't you love to spin this wheel?" Okay. Anyways, so I spin the wheel, and you'll never guess what option I got. I got the meet a bear every single day for a year option. You gotta fight a bear every single day. So I have to fight a bear every single day for the rest of the year, for an entire year, and that's exciting because bears are like, you got teddy bears and stuff, so like you won't die, So they bring me over to, it's like a locker. Like they're pushing me into a locker, and they close it, and this chemical sprays out of a nozzle and fills the air in the locker, and I just fall asleep. And then I go into a dream within a dream, which is kind of silly, and I'm looking around, and I don't realize that it's a dream at first, but I go to touch something, and my fingertips stay on it, but my fingers themselves just stretch. As I try to touch it, they just stretch. It's like sketty, but they're fingers. So I'm like, oh, this is a dream. So I'm probably gonna wake up somewhere with the bear and stuff. No. Incorrect. So the bear comes. Okay. I gotta set the environment up. So this is another place that I genuinely I recognize from in real life, but there's a place that I go to where some of my family lives, and on the way there's a gas station on the side of the road, completely abandoned, and then there's a field off behind the gas station if you're looking at it from the angle that I usually am, coming back. And yeah, the gas station wasn't a gas station. Instead it was just a regular house, but it was a small kind of rundown house, and off to right beside me, right 10 feet that way, was a little shed and stuff, and it's all rusted up and kind of gross, and it's the same environment, but the gas station is replaced with a rundown house. And you may be wondering, how does this relate to the game show? Well, the bear is a big old polar bear. Yeah, it's really fun. So the polar bear comes running at me down the road, and I am like, what? Oh my god, a bear. And then he just mauls my face off, completely kills me within like 2.5 seconds. And I wake up again in the same dream, same environment, and I'm like, okay, that was pretty bad, but this is a new day, so we're gonna make some changes. And can't make changes because also suddenly this like old woman, she's like, I would say like 55 years old, gray hair, she's running at me with a butter knife, a rusty butter knife. Maybe this is the person that like inhabited the old rundown house that was like on the side of the road, but she's like running at me, and I don't have a chance to compose myself because I just got my throat ripped out by a bear. So I'm like, oh my god, what the freak? Why are you running at me? And she like tries to tackle me, and we're like going, not really back and forth, it's just like a struggle. She's trying to stab me in the heart. She's trying to stab me, and I'm trying to like keep her away. And I try to like reach for the knife as I'm, struggling to keep her from stabbing me. But I end up making a mistake in the struggle, and like the knife just like in my heart, and then I die again, which that was so dumb. It was an old woman with a butter knife. I like to think of myself as a little more capable in being able to being unable to take on somebody with just a cat. Being unable to take on somebody with degrading muscles and a butter knife, a rusty butter knife. So if she would have stabbed me not in the heart, then I would have died anyways from tetanus. But like, that was so rude. That was so unbelievably rude. And yeah, she just stabbed me in the heart, and then I woke up right after that. So rude. I should have been able to defend my honor like at least one more time. Like, at least give me 3 chances. You promised me 365 chances, and you only gave me 2. It's a pretty messed up game. But anyways, that was the end of the dream. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, if you've made it this far. I dyed my hair recently, and I'm very excited about it. I really enjoy the new look that I've got going on. And yeah, I will see you in another video, maybe.